Alright folks, this is a quick update of what I've been up to, and what I've been up to is in front of you. It's a little bit sunny so I can't see the screen too well, but you should see 4 AR-15 rifles right in front of you, and I'll kind of go through what they are as we go along. And I am naturally, this we don't need right now, I am naturally experimenting with a new microphone. See if this is sort of a wireless lapel mic. I want to see if I can get decent sound quality even though it is windy. I'm at this DLO shooting range right now. We've got one of the base here. I was doing some action drills and stuff like that. And I am experimenting with a few different approaches to do this. On the left is my sort of a DMR type build with the prototype March 1 to 10 by 24 dual focal plane scope on it using a March single piece mount. And I'm gonna show you a little bit more about the mount. Okay, let's see if I can turn the screen and get it in the field of view reasonably well. And me in the field of view is not working well. Let's move back a little bit. Okay, you can almost see me. Let's turn it. Okay. All right. So the rifle is not loaded, which is why I'm handling it in such a cavalier manner. It is bright and sunny. I burn substantially, so I apologize for the covered up look. You're here to see the scopes, not me anyway. Anyhow, it's a shorty type design, so there's no, technically it's a 30mm tube, but there is no 30mm tube to work with. So they've got a 33mm objective. And the guys at March, recognizing that they want to have a nice stiff mounting option, they made a special mount that has a 30mm ring in the back and 33mm ring in the front that clamps around the back of the objective lens. And I just received it not too long ago, and I really like it. It will work with both 1 to 8 shorty that's in production and the 1 to 10 that is still a prototype that I'm messing with, and I like it. One of the common causes of a loss of zero when you drop the gun or put pressure on it is when the objective extends far forward and you put pressure on it, it can shift zero. With this scope this short, and this mount, it is virtually impossible. Now, there are other modalities for that, but it is an interesting thing. I kind of like the scope so far, but it's a prototype. I don't review prototypes, so I am not going to talk about it too much. I also have the Trijicon device here. Normally, the Razor Gen 3 sits on this gun. And that's set up to work with this. It works quite nicely. Maprolite tritium iron sights that I still need to finish my review of. This here is my wife's rifle that I am changing the setup on again, and I'm probably gonna stick with this one. I like this one. So what this is, it's a nice flexible setup. One of the things I wanted to do, I wanted to set up one rifle in a way that am I still recording? Yes, we're still recording. Excellent. I wanted to set up one rifle in a way that does not require batteries at all. So what I did here, I got a compact ACOG 1.5 to 16 from Primary Arms. It has the ACSS reticle that I happen to like a fair bit. Some of the more complicated version of ACSS, not necessarily my thing. They work, just not my thing. But the simplified version they use in a compact ACOG and the 2X Prism that I'm also looking at on a different gun, that I like. And since it is fiber illuminated, it's kind of an interesting thing in that seems to be nicely designed, works well across a good range of lighting conditions. The auxiliary side, the offset side, right? So this is, this is the ACOG, this is this thing, all right? This is kind of a, I've talked about this in the past. I don't like this side too much as a general purpose side, but it has some advantages. I'll talk more about that in a separate video. And as an auxiliary sight, it works well, and it is a good fit for this particular rifle because I want you to set it up in a way that does not require batteries at all, right? And this uses a light collector, this uses a light collector and tritium, no batteries anywhere, and a nice lightweight build, ultralight barrel from Faxon. It's their match pencil barrel. Stock from Odin that dampens recoil slightly, and the whole build was set up for my wife, since she is somewhat recoil sensitive, to have a somewhat stock heavy gun that would be fast to move, but the gun itself is not an ultra lightweight because mass, in addition to the secondary buffer of the Odin stock, Odin Zulu 2.0. In addition to the secondary buffer of the Odin stock, dampens the felt recoil quite a bit. I mean, it is still there, but it's a lot less sharp. And for my wife, it seems to make a difference. I've tried several different sighting configurations on her gun, and I think I'm going to stick with this one. The gun is accurate. I do have a linear compensator on the front, so that the sound to the shooter is less pronounced. And beyond that, I think I'm going to keep it as this. I like what I'm seeing with this guy. This is a backup build I was doing for somebody. I have been doing sort of a long-term beat up and see what happens thing on the Hilux MM2 red dot sight, and it has been pretty much bulletproof for me so far. The magnifier behind it is the Athlon 3-power magnifier. The mount is not my favorite design. The magnifier itself is quite decent. For the money, it's quite good, and the combination overall works very nicely. The barrel is a AR-15 Performance 5-hour barrel, so it is quite accurate, and once again, I like linear comps, so that's what I have on it. Overall, a nice build. Okay, and this is, last but definitely not least, is the production version of the Steiner CQT fused thermal reflex sight. I'm doing some daytime testing right now, and the daytime testing is basically there so that I could get a reasonable idea of how it is just as a reflex. Running thermal on a very bright day like this is not terribly useful. It works very nicely, has good collimation quality to my dot. Actually looks like a dot to me, despite my astigmatism, which is nice. And the reason I put this on this particular carbine, this has a very, very lightweight barrel, which heats up very fast. One of the things I'm trying to do, I'm going to do some night shooting with this over the next few days. One of the things I'm trying to do is to see whether the thermal flare from the hot barrel, and this is very open in your Brigand Arms handguard, whether that will have any real impact on how the thermal camera out front here works. It's going to be very interesting to see. So far, I'm super impressed with this thing. I've looked at the prototype. This is a production model, kicks ass. I'll do a separate video on this, but this is an interesting, this is, in terms of CQB sights, this is the next step forward, I think, but time will tell. All right, folks, thank you for listening. I'm going to go do some shooting. I still have some handgun shooting to do. I'm not going to pull it out now. I'm wrapping up with the review of a Kel-Tec CP33 handgun. We'll see how that goes.